Well, of course, Spider-Man, it's here. It's opening this week, which is kind of crazy to think about because it feels like it's been lost in the mix a little bit. Talking about with Odyssey opening and all the big numbers it's been putting up with, Avengers Doomsday and the trailer coming out and all that kind of stuff. But it's here. It's this week. Spider-Man, brand new day opens up. And a couple of really interesting things have happened. I was saying on the show the other day that the very best piece of marketing, the number one thing that Avengers Doomsday has going for it, and the best piece of potential marketing it has, is Spider-Man. Because if Spider-Man hits theaters and it's great, it's just going to balloon ticket sales for Avengers Doomsday. But the opposite thing has also happened. You guys have probably seen a lot of reports going around that once the Avengers Doomsday trailer dropped on Monday, not only did a lot of people buy tickets for Avengers Doomsday, but according to the outlets, there was then a spike and a surge in ticket sales for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So it truly is, a lot of people are looking at one and they just see it as one big MCU, and that's been very beneficial. Now, because it had that surge in ticket sales for Spider-Man as a result of the Avengers Doomsday trailer, you may have seen a bunch of headlines going around, like this one, saying that Spider-Man is now projected to make $300 million on its opening weekend. $300 million. Now, let's take a step back and look at the context and put that into perspective. Here's the 5 biggest opening weekends in the history of Hollywood. Let's take a look at this. So obviously Avengers Endgame, which is still an unfathomable number to me. Like, I just didn't know there was enough screens and literal seats in theaters. But Avengers Endgame made $357 million its opening weekend. In the number 2 spot was the last Spider-Man movie, with Spider-Man No Way Home making $260, Avengers Infinity War $257, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens at $248, and Star Wars The Last Jedi at $220. Oh, look at that. Top 3 are all MCU. Top 5 are all either Disney or Disney adjacent. Anyway, so look at these numbers. If Spider-Man Brand New Day was indeed able to open at $300 million, it would become the second largest opening weekend in the history of cinema. Bigger than any other Avengers movie other than Endgame. Bigger than anything. By the way, also take a look at this number. Now imagine Spider-Man Brand New Day in the number 2 spot, Spider-Man No Way Home in the number 3, and Avengers Infinity War in number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, you're talking about the top 4 opening weekends in the history of cinema having Tom Holland in all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't thinking that.
I'm not saying it's because of Tom Holland, but there's a little feather in the cap for Tom Holland.
Yeah.
For the 4 biggest opening weekends ever, I was in all 4 of those. So that's interesting. All right. So because of all that, we've seen these numbers going around that the projections now are for $300 million. But sorry to throw some cold water on this. Here's the thing. Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to open huge. Huge. But these numbers you see being reported of a $300 million opening are not coming from any of the major or significant box office tracking outlets. I did some digging on it, guys, and basically what it is that some random people started theorizing, oh, maybe it could be 300. And then in some Reddit threads, some people are saying now 300. And then from Reddit threads, some smaller outlets are saying, well, I read in Reddit, it's going to be 300 million. Then another outlet sees that outlet saying 300 million. And there's now saying it's now being reported that 300 million. And that's where it all came from. So no, Spider-Man Brand New Day is not currently tracking to make 300 million opening. The major trackers are still saying it's going to be in the 230 to 250 million range, which, Jonathan, if we still have that graphic, let's bring that graphic back up. If it does open that 230 to $250 million range, it still gets into the top 5 of the biggest openings of all time. Now, these box office tracking numbers, 95% of the time, they come within 3 or 4%. But every once in a while, the tracking will say one number, and then the movie comes out and it'll be like significantly more. I'm not saying that it's impossible that Spider-Man Brand New Day couldn't get 300 million. It's within the realm of possibility. I just want to make sure that expectations are where they should be. The trackers are still saying 230 to 250, regardless of the headlines that you're reading. 230 to 250 is the tracking. If it comes 290, 300, that's a surprise and a pleasant one. Anyway, Chris, we're looking at these numbers, okay? And okay, forget the fact that the 300 number is coming just from chatter. The movie is going to open huge. I mean, that is no doubt. We know that. So I got two questions for you. Question number one, how huge do you think this is going to open to? Because again, even on the low end of that, 230, top 5 biggest opening in history. So question number one is, how big do you think it can be? And question number two is, why does Spider-Man elicit this kind of a response where it's about to have 2 of the top 5 biggest openings in cinematic history? So what do you say to all that?
I don't get people who like Spider-Man.
Well done.
No,
well done.
That is
good timing.
With the actual numbers that they're projecting, I do think it's on the higher end. And I think this speaks to something that you talk about all the time. There's not superhero fatigue. It's mediocre movie fatigue. It's all that. And with the Spider-Man trilogy and what has come before, at least when the just Tom Holland solo movies, all critically acclaimed, all audiences love them. They make good money. It's just continued promise that if you're going to go see what they've recently done with this Spider-Man franchise, Tom Holland's to be, in fact, you are going to get something you're going to enjoy. And I think audiences like that promise. And it's funny because I'm hearing all these interviews now with Pascal and Kevin Feige, and they're talking about how do we top Andrew Garfield and Toby showing up and going back street level? It's like people are still excited just because it's Spider-Man. He has something in the water, something in the web that is getting everyone excited. So I think it will be on the higher end. It's so cool to see that the Avengers hype is also pouring over, and that'll work vice versa for Avengers Doomsday when Spider-Man turns out hopefully being good. We still haven't seen the movie, and it could go either way, but I doubt it'd go bad now from everything I've been seeing. So it's just cool seeing these numbers. When I saw those 300 million projections, I was willing to buy it in just because of how much excitement there is around the movie.
And look, you bring up the $1 million question, which is, of course, it depends on how good the movie is, right? I mean, it's going to have a big opening weekend regardless, but then the legs. But look, this movie could end up being terrible. It could. It's possible. It can. But what the main reason I'm optimistic about it is because of Destin Daniel Cretton, the guy who's directing it. Now, I think John Watts, who directed the previous 3 Spider-Man movies, did a phenomenal job. By the way, then killed it with that little Star Wars show, Skeleton Crew.
I like that show a lot.
Oh, I think he did a great job on that show. So, but now we have a new director. But remember, this guy, Destin, he did Shang-Chi, which I think is one of the absolute best Marvel movies since Endgame.
3.
And then he followed it up with that little show that completely shocked all of us with Wonder Man.
Yeah, I had no expectations for that.
I had 0 expectations. I didn't even care about it, to be honest with you. Despite the fact that I think Yaya's a great actor, obviously Sir Ben Kingsley, still completely off my radar. Oh, it's opening tomorrow? I guess I'll check it out. Floored by it. It gets nominated for Emmys. Yeah, that's right. It became Jonathan's all-time favorite number 1 Disney Plus show. So, I mean, this is the guy who's doing Spider-Man now. And so, again, that doesn't guarantee it's going to be good, but we will see. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Spider-Man got a spike in its ticket sales as a result of the Avengers trailer. Is it enough to get it to 300? It's still actually being projected for the 250 range, but maybe it can get there. Whatever you guys think, jump down in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.